on YouTube.
45.
Oh, I see it now.
50.
What's up?
It's probably live right now. I don't even know. It hasn't popped up yet.
Here it is.
Now it's live.
Yep.
Sweet.
Okay, we're live.
Okay, Joe, let's go.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Designers on Lockdown for Designing Sports. We're here with 6 people, 6 great designers. We're waiting on one more, hopefully. And we'll just kind of go around and everybody can kind of talk about what they do and who they do it for. And then we'll start from there.
Also, I think we have a special guest who's in the queue right now.
Yes, yep, here we go.
There we go.
There he is.
What's up?
Hello.
Always getting his audio figured out. Well, I guess let's just go around and introduce ourselves while he gets it set up.
Okay, so let's go.
You're up.
Me?
Yes.
Well, it's my third episode, so probably everyone knows where I work at. I'm a freelancer. I work for FIBA, NBA, a few other agencies, a few athletes. And overall, right now I'm in lockdown, also waiting to hear what will be the next steps for everyone and just waiting to get some more work done.
And what's your name?
Dariusz Ejkiewicz. And I bet none of you can pronounce it.
Nope.
Dariusz Ejkiewicz. I tried.
Nice. Like a real Polish person.
What can I say? I'm Dan Beltran. I'm the current director of graphic design at Gonzaga Athletics. My previous stops came in the form of STN Digital, which some of you may be familiar with, as well as Seattle Sounders FC. I do a lot of sports campaign and identity design, as well as some like logo design on the side. So that's kind of a little snapshot for me.
My name is Joe Cayone. I'm with the Cavs, Cleveland Cavaliers. I do a lot of our digital design and social media pieces. Before this, I was at the Cleveland Browns, a lot of Cleveland teams. And on the side, I do stuff for Bleacher Report, MLB teams, NCAA, a bunch of different sports agencies. So, yes. Who's next?
I can go. I'm Abby. I currently am the senior designer for Fox Sports, digital and social media. I've been there and it's out in LA. Been there for about 3 months now. Before that, I was with Turner Sports, NBA on TNT, NBA TV, March Madness, PGA, all of that. So I went to school at University of Illinois. Amy and I went to school together, had every class together. You guys might not know.
I had no idea.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One did.
I worked for men's basketball. She worked for women's.
Oh.
2 peas in a pod.
All right, well, I'll go. I'm Amy Monks. Like Abby said, I went to University of Illinois, graduated in 2016, where I then went on to intern for the Buccaneers for the 2016 season. And that's pretty much where I learned all I know now to get me to this point. And then I went to the White Sox for about a year after that, and then saw the position open with the Charlotte Hornets, and my family lives here, so I jumped on that, and I've been there for almost 2.5 years, and I'm just a graphic designer, so that's it.
Hey, I think I'm the last one here. Sorry, I'm late. The internet's pretty horrible in Australia. Of course, I had to drop out as soon as as soon as we were ready here. My name's Tyson Beck, and essentially I'm just a freelance designer. I work with a handful of clients across sports.
Just a handful.
And then I'm Brad LaFeld. You guys know me as Bradley Jack Design. I am currently unemployed, but I work for a Worked for a company called Z Design. We do sports environmental graphics. So we do stuff at sports arenas, a lot of college facilities. So if you go into a college facility, all the stuff they have on the walls, essentially we design or designed. And then I do freelance stuff on the side and make YouTube videos when I can. So
You make YouTube videos?
yeah.
Yeah, and you told us on the chat on episode 2 that you were actually at work, right, during the pandemic.
Yeah, I was at work last week, and then Friday we got told everyone pretty much got laid off. So now I'm technically unemployed. So I have a lot more time to make YouTube videos now.
And discuss with the community, right, of sports designers.
Yeah, I don't do that enough already.
Okay, Joe, so what's next for us?
Okay, so we got a bunch of questions on Twitter, and if you haven't submitted one and you have one, you can do it on just tag @smsports and we'll read it off. So the first one is kind of for you international guys. Can you discuss working internationally and how that impacts your connection with the client, and if it does impact, how so? So basically, how do you guys get clients by being overseas? And also another follow-up question later on, which kind of ties into this, was with this pandemic going on, how do you think will that open up more opportunities for people that live international, or I guess, do you think that those companies or those teams will be like, hey, this happened and we had a bunch of all these clients overseas? Do you think that will lead to more full-time opportunities happening for people that live overseas for teams in the US?
Tyson, you want to go first?
Okay. I think the opportunity, like, if we're going to be honest, the opportunities are already there. I don't think this pandemic's going to like drastically change anything. Like, it might improve things, but I've been working overseas for like close to 15 years, and that's basically like full time, and I'm on literally the other side of the world, as far away as America as it comes, and I've been able to do work and pick up work, consistent work, and like every year, and keep busy. So the work is there. It's not like it hasn't been there. I think, yeah, like the question said, this might improve things. It might help, but I think at the moment, there's nothing hard about working overseas. I mean, like, yeah, the time zone's a little hard. Like, it's like 7:30 a.m. here. So whereas it's nighttime over there, but I mean, that's probably the hardest thing in terms of time zone. But outside of that, yeah, I just don't see any issues overseas. It doesn't matter where you are. I've never had a client ever have an issue with me being off site or off location. When they contact me, they know that I'm not going to be on site, and they know what they're getting. So yeah, I think we live in a pretty easy time for the creative industry. You can do work from anywhere.
Yeah, I would say pretty much the same, but additionally, you have to kind of look for the right kind of a client who will understand where you're located at, and how to kind of plan things ahead many times, because, you know, once you have a family, kids, and things like that, you're probably not going to be always available. But if you have a client who values your work and wants to have something done in a good way, then you can build up that relationship, and those time zones are not a big of an issue. And personally, I also didn't ever had a client who would complain that, you know, oh, you're in Poland and we have a problem with that or whatever. It doesn't really matter. What I think this can actually, like, I see it helping companies in Poland already with the working from home, and I think that will help also, like, the college programs and other clients in the US that were more like, oh, we want an in-house team because we can talk with everyone. And now, like, we're talking, you know, Tyson's in Australia, I'm in Poland, you guys are in the States, and like everyone can be on the same call and we can do the work together. So I think that will help some of those programs and teams understand that it doesn't really matter where you have the designer at, if you have the right planning over there, and you can create some great results out of that. So that would be my look and approach to that.
I think even the fact that both of the individuals in this conversation right now who aren't based in the United States are freelancers in sports is testament to the fact that there is work out there for people, especially at the levels that you guys are at, to be able to complete. And it's just like, you don't have to be in the building, in the same building, like a lot of us are. You can do it remotely from your house in Poland or from your house in Melbourne or Australia, wherever you're at.
Yeah, and just like Tyson said, he's doing this for 15 years. I'm doing this for like 17 or 18, which is actually crazy. We met on a message board back at Kobe's forum back in the day. I remember we did some collabs over there. So it's like, I wouldn't even say it was. It's so long, like 15 years or so, and it's crazy how this time flies. And like you said, Dan, it depends just on the opportunities over there and whatever you can get and good clients and stuff.
Cool. All right, we have another one from Noah. What is it like working for a professional team day to day? It's a goal of his to work in-house for a pro sports team after he'd finished the school. So I think it's just me and Amy that work for pro teams right now. So Amy, do you want to start?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. What is it like working for a pro team day to day? It's a goal of his to work in an in-house team.
So working for a pro sports team, I feel like it's very different than being a freelancer, because I feel like almost, I'd say 60% of what we do doesn't get seen by the general public, because a lot of what we do is to try to push ticket sales internally and stuff like that. So it's kind of a different ballpark than freelancing, but it's a lot of structure, which I like. For me, that works. I like to have a structure and go in every day. And every day you're going to work on a different project, but obviously it's always going to be kind of in the same realm. And the way we do it at the Hornets is we kind of break up each designer and have them, for the most part, work with their departments, so that we kind of get to know the ins and outs of that department, because each department functions differently. So we've just started doing that, and it's been really helpful because, you learn everything about the department, and it makes designing for them easier because, their purpose and everything like that.
Yeah, it's kind of the same for me too. Like a lot of the stuff we do never gets seen by the general public, and a lot of the cool stuff on social and everything is a very small part of what we do every day. So you'll have a lot of the ticket initiatives or corporate partnerships. The things that really bring in a lot of money for the organization is what we kind of really have to figure out, and we put a lot of time into. And then all the stuff on social is kind of what we love. Well, at least for me, what I love to do, because that's for the fans for more basketball reasons. But a lot of times when you're in the actual organization, a lot of what matters is the business side, and how does the team make money, and what you do contribute to the overall money that's being brought into the organization, which is super important. Cool. Anybody got anything else or no? Next question.
Next question.
What is the best way to get your name out into the sports industry? Different types of social media, meetups, etc.
Tutorials.
Building tutorials. Anybody here do that?
I think, well, for me specifically, when I worked for Illinois basketball, the director of basketball operations, Mark, mentioned to me, he's like, just follow everyone that you are inspired by, whether that's designers or it's certain teams or brands, whatever. And then eventually when you just start posting your work, not necessarily overdoing it, but once you start posting your work and reaching out, being to other designers, hey, I really like what you did here, or reaching out to, designers who have been in this field for a while, getting tips, whatever. You know, I think I speak for most of us when I say we're willing to talk to younger designers. You know, we're happy to answer any questions, whatever that may be. And so I think it's kind of just building like real connections and relationships with these other designers rather than just, you know, being annoying, for a lack of a better term.
Yeah, I feel like it does come down to like being authentic and not, I mentioned this a little bit on the last live stream, but not necessarily making things with the intention of having them get retweeted by Trenches or get noticed by Juke or anything. You really have to start with your passion for what you're doing, and like the love will carry you through. And if you don't care if, you know, Ray Lewis retweets your graphic and you just make the graphic because you know you want it to be good, the rest will follow. You just have to take care of your graphics and whatever you're doing and whatever your topic is, and then the rest is going to happen organically.
It's like just like athletes, is constantly working on your craft, right? You don't see the hours in the weight room or the gym and everything, but then you see the results, right? So that's an important part of designer's life too. Like you can crop out a bunch of pictures or do a lot of effects that don't work, but you don't necessarily have to post them, and it's your training, and the next time you're going to be better, faster, and the results will follow, right?
What worked for me, and I've talked about this before briefly, is a lot of what you guys said. It's all about putting content out there. I mean, the only reason I'm in this YouTube chat right now is because 2 years ago, I decided I needed sports design stuff in my portfolio if I was ever going to get a sports design job. So then I started a 365-day challenge of just making something every day and posting it. The more you post, the more people are going to see your stuff. And then if you're authentic and reply to people who say stuff on your designs, and if you go out there and look for other people's designs and comment on their stuff, people are going to start to recognize your name. You're going to start to get some followers coming in, and then people are going to know who you are if that's what you're looking for. I always harp on don't worry about followers and likes. Just post graphics for yourself. You know, a lot of the ones I would post were, oh, I figured out and learned what gradient maps were. So then my next 15 graphics was me just trying to figure out how gradient maps work, or I found what color lookups were, or I found some other method like displacement maps, and I wanted to just try those out and get more familiar with Photoshop. But then in the same breath, I'm getting my name out there and people are recognizing who I am then. And then I'm assuming whoever asked this wants to know to get their name out there for like clients and stuff. And if you do that, clients will come to you. I mean, you'll get DMs from people who want $5 logos, but you'll also get an email eventually from someone that says, we want you to work with our brand. So it'll come.
We want to fly you on site for like a PGA Tour thing, or
yeah, they want to fly you down to Florida in the middle of a pandemic and do some work for us, and then fly you back a day later because they canceled the tour.
Shit happens, as they say.
That's like important too, and you kind of touched on this, is being authentic to yourself. I think me and Bradley met because I was trying to do a similar challenge to him, and I lasted about 3 days. So I just think it's, you know, making sure that you're not just putting stuff out there because you see someone else doing it. It's really, you decide what feels right for you. And like, Bradley's insane. He's, you know, a machine and can do that. I cannot. So I learned that very quickly. So just doing what feels comfortable to you, and other people are going to relate no matter what you do.
And I want to add one last thing too, is if you want to do that and do a challenge like that, make it a priority. I did it working a 9-to-5 job where I did all the designs essentially between 5 and midnight. So I only really had 7 hours to work on them, not 24. Now I had a little more extra time on the weekend to do it, but there's time to do it. I also got married during it as well. I took 2 weeks off, so that's why I didn't finish it until the middle of January, but there's time. Stop playing Fortnite and go design something. So
At the same time, like life goes on, right? So you had your marriage, so you can take a break in that. It's not like something is going to happen because you took 2 weeks off and now you're in the middle of this lockdown, and you would be like, damn, so I didn't take that 2 week vacation because I thought, this is the most important thing in life. But we love this work, but it also, the balance has to be there. Like sometimes you decided for those 2 weeks that there is something more important to you. And I think when you look back at that decision, well, I would look back at it as a good choice. I don't know how you're looking at it.
well, my now wife told me I wasn't allowed to bring my laptop on our honeymoon with us. So,
Okay.
So the
yes.
truth comes out. The truth comes out.
I did not have a lot to do with it. It was more of her telling me, you're not doing anything on this 14-day honeymoon or whatever.
So you were already in lockdown.
What?
You were already in lockdown, but
Yes,
from
exactly.
designing.
It was weird. And then I came back though, and then I made really awesome graphics because I did actually take time off.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
All right. What else we got?
All right, next one's for Tyson. When you're in a design rut or a creative rut, where do you turn for inspiration and how do you get out of it?
I don't really know. I don't know. That's like a hard question. I get asked that all the time, and I give a different answer every time because I don't really have a truthful answer. I don't know. I think it's forever changing. It's just every day is different sort of thing. So I don't know. Sometimes I get outside, walk my dogs, get away from the computer. But honestly, like, it's a horrible answer, but I don't think there's any truth to it. I think if there was a way to get out of a creative rut, you'd never be in a creative rut because you'd just constantly be doing it. So I don't know. It's not a great answer, but I don't have anything to kind of cure that issue that people have, including myself.
Cool. Anyone else?
Can you repeat the question?
How do you get out of a design rut or a creative rut?
Well, I would say that you really have to step away from everything many times or look for different ways of getting inspired. Like if you don't really read books on the daily, just get a book and look for some ways for your imagination to go wild. And then, for us creatives, stuff like that, like I love books because you can see the whole world and it's building in a way that you have it, or like it's different for everyone. And then you see a movie and you're like, this isn't how I imagined it. So those ways of waking up your imagination and looking for new ways to get inspired, I would say that always helped me. Also, maybe not a good one right now, but nature walks and stuff like that, it's always helpful. You get a bit of that air and then you can get back to it. And if you really cannot design anything, just step away for a day or something, because you can spend 12 hours just being nervous and not having that work done, and then the next day you wake up at 6 a.m. or something and you're like, oh, this and it's done in 1 hour. So don't overthink it, and always look for the things that work for you individually, because that's the most important thing. Because if you will be a creative for years, those moments will happen eventually. It happens to everyone. So you need ways to deal with it, and you need to find them, what works best for you.
Yeah, I think normally my creative ruts like happen because I'm overthinking things. So especially if I'm at work and I'm staring at a graphic for super long and I can't decide what to do, I'll go up and take a few laps around the arena. And then usually by the time I come back, I can look at it with like a clear set of eyes, and it's like simple to me at that point.
Few laps around the arena must be nice.
Now you can go to your bedroom, to the kitchen, back to your bedroom.
I like to walk around the Fox Sports cubicles,
Yeah.
It really gets my creative juices going.
I have a really weird one. There's a song every time I listen to it like on repeat for a little bit, and then it gets me out every single time. And it's called Danze Kuduro. It's from like
Yeah, I love that.
That's college.
I swear to God, I listen to this like on replay, and it for some
Joe.
reason like I just get in the groove again. I don't know, it's really weird. So
This
I
must
get
be
made
why
fun
we're
of it.
friends. That is my song.
I get made fun of at work all the time for it, but it works. So
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay. Let me look up the next question. Let's see. How do you get contracts or assignments with any professional athletes, if you have it?
I'm gonna let y'all handle this. Whoever's had one with a professional athlete.
I was gonna say this has to be Tyson, right?
Yeah, I think Darius has some too.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I've worked with professional athletes, but I've never actually had like a contract with them. I don't kind of have a contract. I think working with athletes directly. I'm working with a couple now. Yeah, I don't know. Some of them are really hard to deal with. Some athletes just have a horrible eye in design. You see some of the personal logos and stuff that come out from athletes, and some of them aren't that great, or what they kind of like look in and everything. So I think they trust in designers. Maybe they're like, a lot of them are like, have got a friend or something working on it. But in terms of like, I don't know how you get a contract with a specific athlete. I don't know. That's a little bit a hard question. I guess you could approach an athlete and kind of say, hey, this is what I can do for you. I can lift your maybe social media game and your presence and everything, do some branding for you. But I mean, like, if you're like a half decent designer, you're going to be able to do an amazing job, because a lot of these athletes still don't really have like a great presence on social media, and like they'll repost some Getty photos and stuff like that, and their own photos. But I couldn't even name 5 athletes that have got a great personal brand. I honestly couldn't.
And I think, like, to go off of what Tyson said, a good idea or something to remember when you're talking about athletes is that a lot of times they're the final decision maker for their brand, but they're not the one who goes out and hires the freelancers. They're not the ones who set the budgets for whatever. So maybe getting creative with tagging their agent on Twitter, or I'm not saying you should tag anybody, if that's super annoying, but like getting creative and thinking like, okay, where is this athlete going to be? Not physically, but where does he spend time? Where would I know that he would at least see my work? And then kind of going for a more organic approach to be able to work with them, because there's more people than just whoever that is the star athlete that are in his circle who could potentially be like, yo, did you see this sick thing that someone did? Like, check it out. And then he's like, yo, let's get him on. And you have to think kind of like how the human mind works, more than just, I'm going to message him every single day for 3 years until he says yes.
Many times with athletes, the actual way that you land an athlete is word to mouth, or however you call that in English. It's pretty much those referrals from other athletes or their inner circle that will get you that. So I worked with a number of athletes. I did web design for basketball players, but here in Europe for like five or 6 years. And pretty much when you present a product and you say, oh, I could do a website for you, it doesn't work. But when you show like, yo, your friend over here has a really cool website that we did, and the other athlete will be like, oh, I can see myself in that also. So if you can get the first guy who will kind of believe in you, and you can do a good job on that, I know that the next steps will be different athletes coming to you and looking for that work. Also, when you know an agent or an agency, then most of the time they have multiple athletes on the roster. So if you do a good job with one guy, then probably you will get more of that work. And there are different stages, like you can work directly with an athlete, or you have some kind of a middleman, and you can have a very good relationship, or you can have like someone who will try to take advantage of you. So you have to kind of learn those things also, because there are many warning signs early on, like the exposure work. So, you know, we have 1 million followers and, you know, we won't pay you, but we can do a good graphic, right? So you just have to, like, the older you get or the more work you do, you kind of see those things and you try to not put yourself in those situations. So I would say that's important too. When it comes to an actual contract, this depends on particular athletes, but I personally had a few that actually had contracts and everything. And that also many times depends on who they are working with. So it can be a personal accountant, it can be an agent who takes care of this stuff. And if they really want to guard the player in a good way, then they will have contracts drawn in. So you have to kind of look for those good opportunities over there.
Cool. Okay, another one from Derek Ho. Biggest advice or biggest piece of advice for younger designers?
To join this chat.
You're not gonna hit the top in a day or a week or a month or a year. So get ready to buckle in and put in the work. And I'm still on my way there. A lot of us are already still on their ways there. I think that the way that I explain it is kind of like the Dame time thing. You don't see all of the hours and hours that he's waking up at 6 a.m. and staying up until midnight shooting and practicing. You only get to see that game moment when he's shining and he hits the game winner against Houston or whoever. And so I think that it's important to realize that there's so much extra work that goes into what we do, and thought and careful consideration. And Bradley didn't just like wake up one day and decide to start making videos, right? Or maybe he did, I don't know. But like there's a level of thought process behind what's happening, more than just I'm going to make something sick, you know? And I think that you have to be very intentional with what you're doing, and the direction you want to take your career. When it comes to portfolio, only show work that you want to continue doing. Don't show work just to get work up, because people are going to take a look at your portfolio and say, oh, he does this, let's continue to give him those types of things. And then just really like work intentionally to craft the future that you want to have happen.
Yeah, I think a huge thing too, and I kind of spoke on this earlier with like the day-to-day is, like Dan had said, not everyone's going to see everything you're working on, and that's totally fine. Like for every yearbook I work on, there's 300 other projects that no one sees. So it's kind of learning to balance that it's not all going to be pretty all the time, but that's just part of your job. There's other stuff behind the scenes that has to get done, and you just have to accept that.
Something I tell a lot of young designers on Instagram are, like, I feel like a lot of people are concerned about like money when it comes to design and like design jobs. And it's like, if you want to go make a lot of money, go be an accountant, don't do design. You know, all of us pretty much do design work because we love doing it. Now, you can still do design and make a good amount of money. I mean, all of us have jobs. I say that as I'm unemployed, which is funny, but you know, the jobs are out there. So, you know, keep at it and keep it as a passion that you want to do. Like I get numerous messages of like teenagers who are really good designers. And I'm like, yeah, you need to keep doing this because you're 15, you're 16 years old. You know, I didn't start doing sports stuff until I was 28. So you could, you know, fuck up for the next 10 years and still be 4 years ahead of where I was. But if your skills are already where they're at now, they're going to be even better by the time you're out of college, or by the time you're, you know, like I'm 31 now, I'm still stupid young. So it's like I could stop designing for 9 years, come back and still have all this time to work. It really just depends on what you want to do. I mean, I tell people, do you want to go make $75,000 a year being a garbage person that picks up people's garbage? Or do you want to make, $45,000 a year doing something you love and that you actually enjoy doing? So my main message I tell people is there are jobs out there. Keep designing because you can do it after school or college if you choose to do that. And just really, if you love doing it, just continue doing it. I mean, that.
Also, 45 grand is not the ceiling in this profession, just to throw that out there.
No, right. I'm just making out of college, you could make $45,000 or, I've seen freelance designers who make over $100,000 a year. So it's possible for you to do that. You just have to put in the work to get the clients to get that flow of income.
Right.
So advice that I give younger people is literally just work hard and be patient, because I mean, that's essentially, I think that's all there is to it. There's no magic button. There's no magic thing that you just kind of become good at this. It's just all a very slow process. Unfortunately, everyone's been here for years and years and years doing it. So you definitely do just have to kind of work hard and be patient. But then also at the same time, people just what I would tell younger people is they shouldn't be discouraged about doing personal work. For example, my page, I barely share any of the sports work I do. I might share 1% of it. I do 3 or 4 projects a day. I never share them. But my Instagram's basically, I'd say half of it at least is just personal work. And I won't pretend that it's not personal work. And I don't understand why other young designers, especially on Behance and stuff like Behance or however you say it, will kind of try and not pretend, but they'll try and, the way it's written, it'll be it looks like it's a project for, say, the Houston Rockets or something, but it's not. And I don't understand why people are discouraged in terms of saying, hey, this is personal work, because there's nothing wrong with personal work. So I think that mentality needs to change, where there's nothing wrong with doing your own personal work. And essentially that's how everyone started off, doing stuff for fun, doing stuff for yourself. And that's, for me, I still think personal work is the best way to grow, because you don't have a client, you don't have anyone else telling you what's right or wrong. So, once you start getting work, don't throw off that filter of creating personal work. I think that's just the most authentic stuff you'll be able to put out and do.
But to add to it also, and that connects with the guys that were asking about the rat, or however it's spelled, personal projects, but also you can do some really fun collaborations with people. Like when you feel that you aren't inspired or something, you can just talk to different designers on different levels, and you can just experiment and do something fun. And then that personal work is even more interesting, because you shared that with someone and both of you can learn something from it, or it can be a 3-person collab or something bigger. So I would say definitely do the personal work. I also, like Tyson said, it's work for Russell Westbrook or something. It's not really, because someone's going to call his agent or whatever, and you already kind of destroyed your future relationship with a possible client because you're not being genuine about it. And it's not a good look, I would say. Yeah, and personal work is great. I did a lot of it, and all of the wallpapers. I started with NBA wallpapers back in 2001, and I did 2,000 of them. Most of them were terrible, but they got me to different levels and stages, and it was all personal work. And then at some point, I got a college client player saying, I love this work. I want to work with you. And it was all from a personal stuff that I was doing. So definitely go that route and look for those kind of fun things with your own work.
Cool.
Yeah,
It's like working out. Oh, go for it.
I had one thing to say about as far as for young designers and your portfolio. Amy and I's professors would kill me if they heard me say this, but you don't have to put your school projects in your portfolio. I didn't put a single one in my portfolio when I was applying to jobs. I put and like, if you can get a job in college, just design. I was designing for the Illini Union, like doing coffee happy hours. And then that got me my job with Illinois basketball. And then that got me my job with, an internship with the Washington Wizards. And I put all of that work into my portfolio, and I didn't put a single one of my, I don't even remember what the what the projects were, but I remember I was like, this isn't pertinent to what I want to, what I'm applying to. But also on that note, the project I'm still asked the most about is not a sports related thing in my portfolio. I did a freelance project for a Seattle architecture firm where I just did this entire 15 by 10 foot map. And it's not sports related, but every single sports job has asked me about it. So I think just having a wide variety of stuff and not thinking you just have to put in sports edits or stuff like that, just having a range of stuff.
Definitely. A lot of people think it's just oh, this is a cool graphic that I made. But everything that we do is so much more than just this cool graphic that we posted. It's about, how does this relate to our brand? How does this sell tickets? How does this, how does all this information look beautiful in a way for somebody to consume it, rather than oh, that's cool because that basketball has fire on it as this guy's dunking. It's so much more than just that.
People see the final project, right? And that's version 17, and you were on version 1, you were this is fire, and it's oh no, make this logo bigger, change the font, also change the player, and then let's add a different effect to it, and then you're okay,
yeah,
cool.
I have right here, this poster right here has LeBron dunking, and there's fire on it, which is cool, but that's not why I got to do that. It's all the other stuff that I've shown. How can this company use you to make money? Because that's really what they're looking for. So how can you take what they need and make it look good, make it look professional, and how can you take their information and make it look beautiful for fans to consume and ultimately spend money? That's really what it comes down to. And then all this other stuff like this is kind of on the side, and it definitely evokes emotion and pulls fans in. But at the end of the day, are they spending money and are they putting money and time into your brand, which is the most important thing. Cool. Anybody got anything else, or next question?
Quick. Learn typography and learn type layout and all that stuff. It'll set you apart from a lot of the people into sports design.
The fundamentals.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I suck at font. Definitely no font.
Yeah. I remember growing up, before social media, before sports design was even a thing, everyone was just making wallpapers, and Darius was the only one that would do typography well. Everyone else would have a cool looking wallpaper and then somehow pick some corny, shitty font to put on there. But Darius would have, I can just remember all the old wallpapers, you could just tell which was made by Darius because he had really good typography skills.
Yeah.
Thank you. But that's why there was 1,000 of really bad ones before that. And then I remember I love typography, and I'm not even that good I would like to be. But in college, the professors, when they showed us how big of a difference it makes with good hierarchy and typography done the right way, it's just mind blowing. And then you get told even by a client that, oh, we just need more effects and just change the font, and you're like, Jesus Christ, but I was working on all of those small elements to kind of work together. But this is a part of the job. At some point, I know I did a good job, but my client is looking for something different, and that's how it's done.
I think we're losing you a bit here, but I'm actually curious with this group of people. Can you raise your hand if you had a formal design education? I can't see Darius's, but
Mine's half. I quit.
half and half. Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, that kind of counts. And then, so self-taught would be me and Joe. Okay, cool. Just curious.
What's self-taught? I'm sorry, my internet went down and the Wi-Fi that it wanted to connect to is called Armageddon 2. So I don't know what people are thinking right now.
I was just polling to see who had a formal design education or like roots in a formal design education versus being self-taught.
Oh, okay. I started like self-taught and then went to college for 4 years, but just 1 year of it was actual design. And we didn't have Photoshop, so our professors would tell us just go home, do the work, and just come back with JPEGs. So I would just come into the class just to talk with the professors because they had some great knowledge over there. So you don't really have to go to a class to kind of design anything, but you can get that knowledge from people who have more experience. So this is also important for building a community like this. Like I'm always open if someone wants to ask me something or likes something that I did. It's no problem for me to talk with people, and I think that's the cool thing about this, the whole sports design community.
Cool. Okay. What is the most fun part about what we do?
We love it. Probably.
Yeah.
The easy
right?
answer.
I don't have to go I don't have to go apron up to go serve like burger patties, like I actually am really excited when I wake up every day because for me, it's like my passion and my profession, the thing that I love doing, the thing that makes me money, they met. And so that's my favorite part every day. I never get sick of it, never get tired of it. Every day is like a new adventure. So cheesy. I'm sorry. I take that back. I regret saying that.
It's like an interview for a new job.
Yeah.
You're hired.
Like the perfect candidate. Like I want to hire you and I'm not hiring right now.
So my biggest strength is actually, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
For me, it was being so close to the team that I love. So I grew up a Cavs fan, like disgustingly obsessed, like it was a problem for a while. And then now to be on the inside, like I kind of fooled them by saying that I wasn't that big of a fan. And like being on the inside now is, it's crazy because, I grew up doing what I do now just for fun. And that's kind of how I learned. So when like we picked LeBron and everything, like I wanted a cool wallpaper for my computer, which was probably like a 9 gig computer or something crazy. And that's how I kind of started like making my own kind of thing. And then I loved it so much. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And, eventually led to this, and it came full circle in 2016 and, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's why I love it so much, is because I would be doing this anyway, whether I got paid for it or not. And I think that's how I truly know, like, this is what I was meant to do. Cause I don't care. Like I would do this for fun. I'm not doing it just for the money. And I originally went to school for the money. I was trying to be an engineer, and that didn't even come close to working out. So I eventually found my way here, which was good. And you just kind of know like, hey, I'm doing this because I love it, not because I'm doing it for the money or doing it for the fame or whatever. I just do it because I love it. And I think that's how you know that you're having fun. Cool. Anyone else or no?
Just in awe, like the knowledge dropped in here. It's incredible.
Okay. Let's see. Los Phillips on YouTube actually had a really good point. He said, if you're a college student, link up with your athletics department for an internship. Great place to start, which is a really good idea. I never even thought of that when I was in school. But a lot of schools, like they don't have the funds or anything to put towards this kind of thing, like designing for sports. So if you're, at a school and you want to do this, that'd be a great place to start. You might not get paid for it, but it'll be a huge resume builder, portfolio builder, and you'll have a leg up on everybody else once you graduate.
Yeah, I would say along those lines, college is like the one place where I would actually encourage you to work for free, especially if, like you said, they have a smaller sports department or whatever.
Yeah.
Me and Abby, I think we're fortunate enough to get paid because we went to like a D1 school, so they had a huge sports program, obviously. But if I wouldn't turn it down if you're at a college that's smaller and they can't afford to pay you. Like, I think that's one of the times that you should actually work for free.
And I think trying to just get your foot in wherever you can. I originally, before I was a designer, when I was still working at the union, I was just answering the phone at the athletic department. And then I'd like always see the designers or the creative directors like walk by and I'd be like, hi. And then eventually they knew who I was when I called them, and they weren't even hiring. I just called them. I was like, hey, you should hire me. And they were like, no, we already finished the interview process. And I was like, okay, well, you should still consider it. And then they ended up hiring me. So I feel like not, waiting around for a job posting or something, like just reach out to them. The worst they can say is no.
Definitely. Okay. Let's see. Internships. So I'm a little bit scared about taking a big one, like a big city team, if you will. For those of you that took one, when did you do it, year and term, and was there pay, place to stay, etc.? So did anybody do any internships in college? No?
I worked for the Washington Wizards and Capitals going into my senior year. Thankfully, I was in a place where I could take an unpaid internship in a different city, which I know not everyone can do. I tried to market it to my parents as it was my studying abroad semester, which they went for. So, I mean, obviously not everyone can do it. I guess it's, looking around. I'm from Indianapolis, so Big Ten is there. There's, the Pacers, the Colts. I think, if you're from a bigger city, looking at the teams that are in your city, so you don't have to, pay for housing, anything like that. But if you do have a way to, go to this other city, whether it's a paid internship or if you can get away with an unpaid internship, I think it's totally worth it. It definitely set me up for my future a lot better.
I wish I would have known I wanted to do sports design when I was in college, because I would have done one of those internships. I wish I would have, I didn't even think about, I went to the University of Dayton, home of Obi Toppin, and I didn't even think of doing anything sports related when I was going there, or else I would have probably tried to intern for the athletics department. So just knowing that you want to do this, any sort of internship is going to be helpful if it's in the sports world, because you'll be able to have actual designs that are real world pieces instead of just, like we've talked about, fire edits that you can post on your Instagram.
Like you said, it's a big part of it is like having the right situation and selecting that to work with you. Like I actually did an internship as a freelancer for a German basketball magazine. So by staying here home in Poland, so I had like 3 months, and I actually learned a lot of editorial design because I wanted to know more like how do you build a magazine. And I'm still like, it's crazy to me that you can do 150 pages in 1 month, because like that was for a German magazine called Five, and they have a great designer over there that does like the whole work on it, and he taught me a lot of that stuff. And looking back at it, it wasn't like paid like anything crazy, but at that point it made sense for me. So if you're a college student and you probably have a lot of those opportunities, like I would probably during like when my career was starting, I would probably kill for an internship like that with an American school or a college program to kind of get those things going. So if you got those opportunities, try it. Like at the top of it, if it doesn't work out, then you just quit. It's like you decide to do something else, right? It's like, what will happen? Like you're scarred for life? No, you tried it. You go on to the next one, right? Or no?
Right.
I didn't have a sports internship in college, but I did have an unpaid internship. And so what I had to do was take on like a paying job at the same time because I needed some way to make money, even though I was in the town that I was already in. So I would say if you're going somewhere for an unpaid internship, you need to like set realistic expectations with them and let them know that like, you know, if you're working 20 hours a week, you'll be at another job the other time and you can't be getting called to come in at all hours of the night. And they can't really fault you for that because they're not paying you. So a lot of it is setting boundaries with them. And I know that's like probably a scary thing, but you know your worth. You can't just live without a paycheck for the most part. So yeah, just set your boundaries.
Did you try phrasing it to your parents like it was study abroad? Or did that not?
Well, my unpaid one was in Champaign where I went to school. So
oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, I would say my internship with the Buccaneers after I graduated, it was paid. It was minimum wage, but luckily we got paid time and a half for overtime, and we often had to work overtime, so it ended up working out for me, and I was able to pay all my bills and stuff.
Nice.
Cool. Well, we're at an hour. Do you guys want to keep going or do you want to stop?
I think we can have a few more questions, right?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay. I have a question for everybody. We're all in, like, we all kind of do the same thing now, but what is the one, like, where do you want to eventually go? And what is, you know, what are your goals and what is the next step from where you're at right now? And go around the circle.
Bradley, probably getting employed, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So I'm currently unemployed technically. I know that the University of Dayton athletics department is in need of a designer because she left earlier this year to go work at Syracuse. So I know they're hiring eventually at the end of the year. A certain job for a certain professional, certain team is hiring a social media graphic designer. So I already applied for that.
Who's that?
Tell us.
I don't want to name any names.
Everyone,
What jersey do you have on?
apply. We'll apply.
What
Please
jersey?
say it.
What jersey is that, Brad?
It's
a nice jersey.
It's this place.
Okay.
This is my Jay Cutler jersey.
The Broncos?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, so like, you know,
It's vintage.
so for me, my ideal landing spot would either be freelancing full time, like some of you guys do. The main reason I did my 365-day project was to work for the Chicago Bears. So we'll see if anything happens from this and if I can convince my wife to move to Chicago. But I mean, that's where I want to be. In a couple of years, I either want to be freelancing full time with a steady amount of clients or in Chicago making stuff for the Bears. So
Cool. Abby?
So in college, we had to like stand up at some point and in front of the class say what our dream job was. Amy, if you remember that. And I was like, I want to be the creative director of the St. Louis Cardinals. But now I realize like, I don't know if I really want to live in St. Louis. You know, sorry. St. Louis is a great city. I've been there probably over 100 times. I love going to Cardinals games there. But after working for 2 different networks, so, you know, TNT, TBS, all of those, and now working for Fox, this sounds so lame, but like, I don't know what I want to do next because I love my current position so much. I feel like I'm kind of right where I want to be. I love working for a network where I get to work for, I'm going to get in trouble for this. I think we have 19 accounts that I work on that I'm currently helping rebrand. You know, and then you have Fox has the Super Bowl, we have World Series, we have all different stuff. So I think just being able to work on it almost feels like I'm freelancing, even though I have like an office to go into and I just have all these different clients. But it's all under one roof at Fox. So I feel like I'm kind of where I want to be, and I should probably start thinking about what I want my future to be.
Cool.
For me, I feel like I'm at the tail end of my career. I know I'm only like 31 this year, but I've already I've done everything that I want to do. So it's kind of like there's nothing really left for me to do with design. Like I'm already trying to transition into doing something else because everything's just really repetitive right now. For me, like I had such a bad experience studying, like, and it wasn't just me, it was all 30 people in my class. Like everyone had such a bad experience studying. And it was just awful, honestly. Like it was just straight up awful. And that kind of motivated to me. It's like, I'd like to, within the next, say 5 years, to become like, I don't know, to set up something, to set up a school or be a lecturer or something to give back and help out, because it's just horrible over here. It's probably different. Well, I'd be able to safely say it's different in America, but over in Australia, it's just horrible. Like I hear stories of all the time of kids reaching out to me saying like they're not learning anything, and like, study sucks, and it's not motivated them to design, and they've been given horrible advice. So for me, it's like, well, I've already done everything that I've wanted to do. I should try and start to give back, because what's the point of continuing to design if I'm not kind of helping out the next wave of people?
That's awesome.
Cool.
So who's next?
Dan, what do you want to do with your life?
What do I want to do with my life? Disclaimer, I love my current role at Gonzaga University. Everybody's great. Fantastic team. No, but I actually have a very, if sports design was like a 9 out of 10, my 12 out of 10 is actually logo design and branding. And so I would definitely say in the next 3 to 5 years, planning on diving into that a lot more than I already do. I do a lot of like logo freelance on the side, and I try, and it's like a very intentional thing for me to have that, to continue to not just be in the sphere of sports design, right? And so I've got dreams of starting an agency of my own. I've got dreams of going freelance and doing logo design branding in the realm of sports potentially. I've got a lot of dreams, so who knows? Check in with me in 3 to 5 years, and then we'll see how it's going.
6 people over here ready to get hired, so
I bet, yeah.
start that agency right now from your bedroom.
Exactly. It'll be fully remote, so it'll be pandemic proof. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's actually how my plan looks like. It's like point one, survive the pandemic, and then
Exactly.
we'll see what happens next 3 to 5 years. But this also gave me kind of like the whole situation gave me an idea about stability, and I can see which of my clients have continued the work even during this hard time. So from the small things, I would just like to have clients that are stable even in problems like we have right now. So the ones that I have are doing a pretty good job getting more work to me, and I would say that's important for me, because I already have a kid and those mortgages and stuff like that. So you want to have stable job, but also you want to do things that are interesting to you and that give you fun. For me, a big change was last year when I finally stopped working at home and went to a co-work office. So right now it's really difficult for me, because after 17 years I'm back at home working from home, and everyone is like crazy, like, how can you do this? And I'm like, I was training for this my whole life. It's not different, but at the same time I kind of miss all of those people that I was working with. Even though we at a co-work, everyone is doing something different. It's like each person has their own company. So I would like to continue that and see what other new clients I can get. And I've been doing this for so long that I pretty much still like to continue doing it, and then see what the future holds, really.
Cool. We went through pretty much all the questions. You guys got anything else?
We can do shout outs. So if anyone wants to get shouted out.
Oh, I got requested a shout out already. Dave Herringer, Sco Bucks.
Oh, nice. Part of the intention with the shout outs is to put people on blast who we think should come on for the next one. So if you guys
Dave
have anybody,
Perfect.
Dave could be, yeah, he could be a great candidate. So just keep that in mind as you guys are shouting out people. But I'm going to give a shout out to.
I actually have a
Go for it.
DM from Dave, so he's on for the next one. Like, you know,
Perfect.
he said he loves what we are doing, loving the panel. So great job, everyone. So now, Dan, your turn for the shout out.
I had a couple guys reach out. I know Matt Houston gets my shout out. Will Trogdon, I hope that's how you pronounce your last name, and a couple others whose names are escaping me because I'm live on the spot. So we'll cut it there.
We need Johnny.
We need Johnny. Yes.
Okay, yeah. There's my third. We'll do Johnny.
Cool.
Don't everybody speak at once. That's fine.
Teddy
Oh, we're
Tree.
doing shout out. Sorry.
Shout-
I don't know. Shout out to my wife for holding it down for so long. I don't know. So yeah, I feel bad. I'm in here. I don't know if you hear my daughter going crazy outside of this room, but I feel bad right now. But that's life. So yeah, shout out to my wife.
I will also shout out my
She's
wife.
never gonna listen to it.
Well, then I'm shouting my wife also.
Sorry for making you guys feel bad. I got a question for you guys. It's not a design question. Any of you guys, guys and girls, sorry. I'm just so naturally saying guys all the time. Does anyone watch any Australian TV shows?
I've been told to watch Love Island Australia by Jordan Harold, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, don't.
I watched this prison show called Wentworth. I'm not sure if that's New Zealand or
that's
Australia. Yeah,
that's it.
I watched like 2
Exactly.
seasons of it. Oh, and also there are some like crime shows, but I don't remember. It was Australian or English. I think it's Broadchurch or Top of the Lake. Also, I think that might be Australian too. But it's good TV always, I would say.
Yeah,
from those things.
Yeah, Wentworth's really good. If anyone watches it or watched Orange is the New Black, like that was a complete rip-off of Wentworth. I'm pretty sure they paid for the scripts and everything. Like Wentworth is crazy. It's really, really good.
And much more realistic. It's like you wouldn't want to be in that prison. It's like it's like a women version of Oz if you watched Oz from HBO. So it's gritty. It's like the first seasons because I kind of spiraled down after season 3 or something.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Sports was showing Australian football the other day, and it was very entertaining, although I did not understand it at all.
Yeah, I get that. I saw that go like kind of like viral, sort of, if you want to use that word here. It's funny though, because it's like, I always forget, like, Americans literally don't know what's going outside of America. Like we'll have 100,000 people at those games, and people still have no idea about that game. And it's like every time that was the first sport I followed and I played. I didn't get into basketball until I played that sport, and I went to smother the ball, and someone kicked my face, and I lost 4.5 teeth. So I was like, nah, fuck this, I'm never playing this again. And then I kind of had a sook because it's a pretty tough sport. Then I started playing basketball. But yeah, that was like my first love sort of thing. AFL, Aussie rules, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I saw it. But that's cancelled now. That's not going on. They've shut down. Yeah, I saw it was on Fox Sports. It's pretty cool.
It was pretty electric watching how pumped. I thought it was rugby at first, and I was like, this is not rugby. And then I realized it was a whole different sport. And people,
but those
were hilarious.
Yeah, those games were like the worst games ever though, because they had no crowd, and like the sport has no soul when it's got no crowd. So if you watch like a normal game, it would be even better.
Well, I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah.
I think I'm watching Tiger King tonight. Have you guys watched that yet?
So am I.
Everybody's talking about that.
I know I feel left out. I'm starting tonight.
Yeah, I feel like I need to start before all the spoilers get posted, like they did for Love is Blind for me before I started.
It's kind of slow at first and then it picks up, but it's real weird, which is always great, right?
Yeah. For sure.
Okay, we're taking any other questions, or you got anything, Joe?
Somebody said Teddy is cute.
Tell me something I don't know. He's
No, I think we got through most of them.
We did good. We did good.
Someone just tagged me on Instagram, all those Instagram challenges going around. Ridiculous. But they challenged me to squat Teddy. So if you guys need some entertainment,
Oh.
that's what I'm doing after this.
Live stream. Back
He's
to
like
back live
70
stream.
pounds, so I cannot do that.
Well, there are a lot of design challenges also. You guys, what do you think about most of them?
Yeah,
If you tag me in anything, I will knock your head off. Stop tagging me.
I haven't been tagged. I haven't seen any, so I don't know.
Shouldn't have said that. Should not have said that.
I won't respond to any, so it's fine. You tag me in all you want.
Just been
I will
tagged
not
in the
respond.
push-up challenge like 5 times now. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing
The
it.
what challenge?
Push-up challenge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's
I don't know.
all over my Instagram and I keep getting tagged. I'm like, you guys clearly don't know me at all.
That's one of the reasons why I'm active on Twitter. I follow people on Twitter, but I don't follow anyone on Instagram because I don't know. I fortunately I don't see this kind of repetitive stuff. And I think that it's actually therapeutic for me as a creator, just to be able to do stuff that's like authentic and different and or whatever, like not seeing like the constant like slide of stuff that keeps coming out. And I think Twitter's great because it's more like communicating and opinions and everything, whereas like Instagram is just purely visual. Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of not actually using Instagram. Like, I'll use it to post work, but that's it. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the challenge stuff, and unfortunately not. All I'm seeing is like TikTok stuff, and I'm just getting sick of that. Like, keep your TikTok stuff on TikTok. Like, I have Twitter for Twitter. I don't like half my Twitter feed's just TikTok videos now. It's ridiculous.
There's also like people discovered that they have houses right now, right? It's like there's a list what to do at home, and I'm like, it's the normal thing. Like,
Yeah.
Do you see that? Like, it's crazy with people and this whole lockdown.
I'm like really offended by like how people are viewing like being locked down as such a bad thing. Like, literally, I've lived my life like this, like being at home working. And when I see people saying like how bad it is, and I'm like, I get a bit offended. I'm like, oh, my life's not bad. I enjoy working from home. Like, it's not a bad thing. Like, being locked down isn't a bad thing. It's just an adjustment. Like, you people should get used to it. It's not the end of the world, bad thing.
Especially if you have a good quarantine squad, right? And you build your family on people that you like. I mean, like, you know, get a wife, a kid, etc. So you're supposed to like those people, right?
Get a wife, a kid.
You're supposed to.
You're locked down for 14 days. So what would happen if, you know, this thing will be a lot longer? So I don't know how many divorces will happen or whatever other things, you know. Child rate birth rate can go up, but strange how people are approaching this stuff.
I'm an introvert, so I'm thriving right now.
Yeah.
I think it's
Love it. I love it. I'll eat it up all day. Let's go.
My wife is working from home for the next 4 weeks, so she thinks we're gonna murder each other sometime in the next 4 weeks.
The honeymoon
test.
stage.
Yeah,
Put to the
right.
test.
Having a dog helps. I have to walk him like 5 times a day.
I heard
Yeah,
that.
I have.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen me duck out like 8 to 10 times of this shot, and that's me opening and closing the door for my 2 dogs. They're obsessed with coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. And yeah, I absolutely love working with my dogs as well.
Yeah, it makes it a lot better.
I heard that in Spain they are actually kind of in the maximum lockdown. They are giving out, like, not giving out, but giving the neighbors' dogs, like to walk them out because people are so locked down. So I heard they're also scanning the chips to check if this is actually the owner of the dog, so people don't like cross quarantine and everything. So it's a crazy world right now.
It's
Cool.
Just
insane.
wash your hands. Don't touch your face.
That's a good thing to end on. Wash your hands. Wash your
Wash
hands,
your hands.
and don't touch your face. All right. Well, thanks
Exactly.
everybody for joining. This was
Thank
fun.
you.
I think we got up to like 90, 95, maybe 100 viewing at one time,
Oh,
which is pretty cool.
whoa.
I appreciate everybody's time, and maybe we'll do it again soon. So.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Have fun.
Later.
Thank you.